Welcome back to the Two Blues podcast, another live match reaction. Chelsea won, Arsenal won, a game that we coulda, shoulda won. I feel a little bit hard done by. I feel like a couple of those chances in the first half. I feel like if we'd have capitalised on the opportunities we had at 0-0, we could be in a very different situation right now. We could be in a very different mood right now. Let's not get it twisted. To draw 1-1 against Arsenal, that's no mean feat, fair play. We drew against them last season before getting absolutely blown to smithereens 5-0. So I'm not getting too hung up on it in terms of development and in terms of progression from last year. But on the whole today, I thought for 85 minutes, I thought we were solid. I thought we were dominated. I thought we didn't look like conceding. I thought we matched them in every single aspect of the game. We matched them in every single department, every single position. I feel like we defended very well. Going forward, we weren't as illuminating as I would have hoped, but I think they defended quite well as well. And obviously, they are a very good unit when they do make it difficult for you in tight spaces. That's why I do feel like someone like João Felix might not have been missed today. Someone like João Felix might have been a little bit of a confusion, a departure from the normal equation. João Felix, I think, would have been an effective player to put on today. No minutes for him. Didn't even see him on the bench. I saw his shirt in the second half of the latter stages. Didn't even see him off the bench. We saw Christopher Nkunku, but yeah, man, it just comes down to those small lapses in concentration. The fine amount, as how many times this season, if anybody watches my shorts day in, day out, week in, week out, I don't do them daily every day now, but if anybody watches my content, I say every week, once if not twice, every single stream, multiple shorts, it's the game of fine margins, the game against big teams where we're going to get found out with these little lapses of concentration. Robert Sanchez today, look, the goal, let's just get this out of the way, let's talk about the goal. I think Robert Sanchez has to do far better. Colwill is sitting deep, playing people onside. Look, he's at fault, but look, why are we playing an offside trap on the edge of our box when Odegaard's got 5 yards of space and the ball at his feet? It seems a little bit silly for me to pin the blame on Levi Colwill and, Malo Gusto leaving his man free, Madueke, whatever you want to call it, at the back. Multiple times in the second half particularly, Malo Gusto was defending three players. He had Leandro Trossard or Gabriel Martinelli. He had Kai Havertz and he had Jesus Sackett. He had somebody else drifting in as well. There was always too many players for Malo Gusto to cover. And I feel like the communication is just not 100% there. We need to just... It will come with experience, with time, with matches, and I do feel like that this is the catch-22 of this Chelsea side, because this is a side that I can see so much potential in. I can see us growing. I can see us doing great things as a team. If we don't tinker too much with the individuals at the moment, we have a consistent starting 11. When was the last time you could say that a Chelsea side had a consistent starting 11 week in, week out, will naming virtually the same starting 11? That's what, the reality of where we are now is somewhere that I want to be, having a consistency. But these players, and through no fault of their own, they are inexperienced players who have been brought into the club, maybe ahead of their time. But these inexperienced players have got a mountain of pressure, a mountain of expectation on their head. And sooner rather than later, it needs to come together in terms of professionalism, silly yellow cards, not losing our head. Look, I'm all for players bleeding blue. It's a London derby, get into them. But at the same time, players like Levi Colwill, he crosses the line. He dips his foot. He just crosses the threshold a little bit too often from fired up to over the, to losing his head. And I do feel like that comes with a lot of Chelsea players, not just from an aggression perspective, but also in terms of the concentration, the communication at the back, keeping it together in high pressure situations. I do feel like this Chelsea side does kind of wobble a little bit when we are in tough games. And as I've said, games of fine margins, games of small margins like these, it is those 1-2 moments of lapses of concentration that will, inevitably do the damage, and did that today. I think Robert Sanchez has to do far better. Listen, let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. On the whole today, he did okay. His distribution was better than it normally is. He made some good saves. I do feel like he got us in trouble a couple of times. Again, He invites unnecessary pressure at times. And yeah, man, just for the goal, I feel like, number one, his decision-making's got to be better. He's got to be more committed and come out to Martinelli and close that gap. Number two, I feel like he can't be getting beaten at his near post like that. I know it's such a cliche. Whenever a keeper gets beaten at their near post, no matter the quality, the speed on the ball, the finish, it is the go-to to say, keeper should have done better. But keeper should have done better. He left a big, big gap at his near post, and Martinelli, it wouldn't have taken long. It wouldn't have taken an average Sunday League player to spot that gap and go, thank you very much. It's a fairly basic finish when Robert Sanchez gives you that opportunity. And he does, as I've said so many times, for all the good that he does, for all the positives he brings to this Chelsea team, he brings a game-changing mistake, a goal-giving away mistake every single game. And that's a non-negotiable, man. Not just for a Chelsea side, for a top side in the Premier League, for a relegation side. You can't be having a goalkeeper that concedes a goal every single game. No team is built on the basis of having a leeway of, right, okay, we're going to concede at least one today because our keeper is going to make a mistake at some point. Yeah, man, it's got to change at some point for me. But it's less of a criticism on Sanchez, and I think more a criticism on the team as a whole in terms of we're not there yet. But we've dealt with that now. We've dealt with the conceded goal. Let's just talk about how Chelsea have gone toe-to-toe with Arsenal, the team that should be winning the league, that have challenged for the title for the last 3 years. We are back. This is a Chelsea team that is finally starting to hold it together. And look, we may last season have gone 1-0 down and not been able to come back. I know we had some great games against Man City, Manchester United, where we clawed back and won points late on. Listen, Arsenal are a different kettle of fish. We all know how Arsenal sit back. They do not take risks. They created fuck all today. Honestly, Arsenal fans, I do not know, and I doubt there are anybody watching, but if there are, please let me know how you go about your daily lives, knowing your team just has no aspiration, though, no ambition, man. Oh, it is just so gut-wrenching to see. I couldn't give two tosses. I couldn't care less. What the fuck was that? I want Arsenal to stay in the mud. I pray on Arsenal's downfall. But at the end of the day, they were one of Europe's elite. Going back to the Invincibles era, when I was growing up, Arsenal were the team. They passed the mantle on to Manchester United. We had it briefly with the Mourinho era. But that Arsenal side with Thierry Henry, Pires, Ljungberg, Bergkamp, Vieira, all those players, bro. The team, they stood for something, man. They played good football. They had great individual talents. I mean, I look at this Arsenal team, and today they created fuck all. Without Odegaard in there, fantastic ball for the assist. We shouldn't have allowed him that much space, but Arsenal really don't create that much. And I think for Chelsea to go up against them, I think we have more than enough talent today, but I think it's just the professionalism, the pragmatism, the understanding your roles, and that's where Arsenal are obviously ahead of us in terms of their project. Arteta's been at the helm for about 5 years now. They've got their system. They're kind of entering that Man City phase where it is, your role, your job, what you've got to do for 90 minutes, go in there, do it. Everybody else does their job, and it will be a solid result. Chelsea, there are a lot more variables because we're nowhere near that stage in terms of our progression, in terms of this team at the moment, the players that we have playing for us, the manager. They have been there nowhere near as long as Mikel Arteta and his players. So to see this from a Chelsea side, I think is very positive. I think we have to look at last season and Chelsea have gone toe-to-toe with the bigger teams more often than not in the last 2 years, even when we've been poor. You wipe that 5-0 drubbing from Arsenal last season away. It's been a fairly solid run of results from Chelsea in the big games, but it does come down to game management, and I do feel like there were so many opportunities for us today to go out when it was 0-0, to go out and make our mark and to press and take more risks. At the end of the day, this Chelsea side, I would always assume is going to concede at least one goal. So I would go out all out attack from minute one and say, look, if we're going to go down, it's going to be a lot more of a difficult task like it was today, rather than just putting it all on the line, getting your balls out, put them in the wheelbarrow and go and score and go and create something. And Pedro Neto, on that left side today, I think Pedro Neto is a fantastic sign, and I think he's a great player, really good asset, really good player to have in this system, and I think he's deserved his starting position. I think he's a well-earned member of that first 11. on the left today, going up against Ben White. He got him booked early on, and then he just stopped going at him. He just wanted to come back, and I think Gary Neville was saying it on commentary, the tendency to want to keep the ball rather than lose it, rather than go at your man. Fuck that, bro. Go at him. He had Ben White tap dancing, bro. He had him on ropes, and all of a sudden, he switches over to the left. He switches over to the right, sorry. He starts going at him, starts cutting in, scores an unbelievable goal. And his confidence is up, his tail's up, and he starts doing it again. That's what I want to see more of. Madueke is most effective on the right. And I've said time and again, Madueke is the most confident and the best 1v1 dribbler in our side, because he is the player that wants to go at his man, wants to beat him every single time. And I love that. And even when Madueke doesn't have an end output, doesn't have an end game, doesn't provide an end product in 90 minutes, if he goes at his man, if he shows that tenacity, if he shows that willingness to go on and create something, I'm always going to say put him in the starting 11 next week, because he wants to go and make it happen. He wants the goals, the assists. He wants to get involved. And Pedro Neto, I feel like at times, I've got no qualms, no doubts on his talent, but I feel like at times he needs to be more confident, needs to have more faith in himself, needs to go at his man like he did today a couple of times, and it came off. Put a brilliant ball into the box. When he does it, it comes off. My only gripe with Pedro Neto is he doesn't do it enough. I don't understand why as well, because he'll put a fantastic ball into the box, and then the next 2, 3, 4 times he'll pass back, he'll try and retain possession. But I genuinely think he's got unbelievable potential. He's a fantastic player. And again, great performance tonight. Fantastic. I think that was his first league goal for Chelsea. Great for him to get off the mark. Enzo Fernandez, assist again tonight, 3 assists in midweek, shows you the change in dimension, the difference that he brings. And this is, like I said in the Manchester United game, it's a game with a little bit more space. I feel like while Lavia and Caicedo did a great job in the centre mid, Enzo Fernandez gives you a different dimension. He gives you a different ability to move forward, to look forward, to pass, to actually find something from deep. And today, again, immediately comes on the pitch, gets on the ball, looks to start attacks, looks to hunt down, looks to find those spaces. And I feel like him and João Felix is a partnership that I want to see more of. I feel like him and João Felix are very in tune. Enzo Fernandez always looking for that forward pass into the space. João Felix always looking for the spaces, always looking for the run. And I feel like those two together could be devastating. You find a way to facilitate them in alongside Cole Palmer, a scoring Nicholas Jackson, Neto Madueke. It's going to be tough fitting all these players in, but great problem for us to have. And today, again, I feel like a few players push the envelope, push their opportunity, push their stance in this Chelsea team. To Enzo Maresca to say, look, I deserve a position in this starting 11. And Enzo Fernandez, I think being dropped is the best thing that's happened to Enzo Fernandez since he's joined Chelsea. Because he's putting in performances, he's bringing out assists like nobody's business. He's tidied his game up tenfold. And I think long may this continue. I think Enzo Fernandez, fantastic player. I was surprised. I thought Cole Palmer, I had a gut feeling he wouldn't play today, and I thought we might have played Enzo in there alongside Caicedo and Lavia to give us that complete kind of domination in central midfield. Interesting that he didn't, but obviously Cole Palmer, we were never going to not start him when he was fit. It was interesting to me because he was not poor today, but he was quiet. He had a few chances early on and then he kind of disappeared from the game. And I do feel like it was a combination of not being 100% fit and also, not really wanting it. Like I feel like he maybe was rushed in. Maybe he did have an off game. I feel like he was defended quite well. I feel like he might have not been at 100% today, but yeah, regardless, if he is able to play and if he says to you, I'm able to play and start, you're never not going to play him. So fair play to them. Quick reminder as well, everybody on the TikTok, if you want to get involved in the comments, I'm going to jump into the comments now. If you want to get involved in the comments and get involved in the conversation, go over to the YouTube, man, at Two Blues Podcast, links in the bio. I'm going to go through the comments now. Zappy says, this must have been a comment during the game. Jackson has lost the ball 3 times in 15 minutes. Fucking donkey. My boy texted me during the first half saying Jackson's been poor. I thought he started poor or started slow. I thought he grew into the game. I thought he did all right. His hold-up play was good. He didn't have much service, didn't have many chances today. Obviously, the one that he did have, he was offside for, but he tucked it away. I don't think we can be too critical of Jackson today. I think he was just, up against Saliba and Gabriel, who are, agenda aside, a fairly good centre-back partnership. So I feel like he did fairly well today. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more from him, but I think that goes for the Chelsea front three, the Chelsea attack as a whole, rather than specifically focusing just on Jackson. Yeah. Onto the ball, Scott. Appreciate you, man. If anybody's a Manchester United or Liverpool fan, follow onto the ball. More likely Liverpool because I think Trav's packed it in. But yeah, man, need a new keeper. Undoubtedly, bro. There is not anything that this Chelsea side needs more than a new keeper right now. Bro said, "What are you doing? What are you doing in here, broski? You're supposed to be in a." Listen, my phone's on Do Not Disturb. I highly doubt you're still watching, Eamon, but listen, man. Shed settings. I'm looking this off in 5 minutes. Get down there. 10 toes or 30 toes. Get Robert Sanchez ready. Sanchez. Oh, yeah. Speaking of, bro, but just to let you know as well, this isn't Sanchez cuss. This is Robert Sanchez cuss. We're not going on Sanchez. Yeah, agreed. Should have done better in near post. Maresca should never have taken Gusto off. Reece got ripped apart in 10 minutes. Arsenal nearly scored twice, both coming down the left and right. I did think it was interesting taking him off. I think it maybe would have been something to do with game management, minute management, injury management. Maybe he had a little bit of a knock or he was struggling off the back of that challenge. I don't know, man, but yeah, interesting to change it around. I'm a firm believer in don't change the defence unless someone's having a stinker. I think, you add to the defence if you need to. You bring on a fifth defender instead of a fourth defender if you need to shut up shop. But, you only really change defenders if there's an injury issue or if someone's, bringing a stinker. So, fingers crossed Malo Gusto's not injured. He still hasn't been the same player this season that he was last year. And I'm still waiting to see that attacking output. He just hasn't been, defensively, I think very solid today. But just attacking wise, that chance today in the first half, great opportunity for him to get his first goal in Chelsea colours, went missing. And all I'm saying is Reece James wouldn't have missed that. Facts, bro. If Sanchez starts the next game, then Maresca needs sacking. Not that far, because we know he's going to start next game. So let's not start calling for Maresca's head off the basis of starting Robert Sanchez when we know Robert Sanchez is going to start the next Premier League game. But it needs to be a conversation, man. I need to know. I need some proof. I need some justification as to why he is starting week in, week out. I'm not comfortable. My bum cheeks clench whenever he gets the ball. Yeah, I don't like him, man. Lavia gave the ball away for the Arsenal goal, yet Enzo comes on and gets an assist, and people rave that Lavia should start over Enzo. Bollocks. Listen, man, it depends on the game. And this is, I might drop a short tomorrow talking about it. Look, it completely depends on what the game calls for. There are going to be games where we need to have more physical dominance and defensive dominance with Lavia and Caicedo. There are games that are going to be a little bit more open, where Enzo Fernandez is going to be the option to open that up, to find that pass, to pick that pass, to find the space in the final third. But it really, it's a luxury for us to have. We shouldn't be complaining when realistically, if Lavia and Caicedo's not working, we can bring on Enzo to kind of open the game up a little bit. If Enzo and Caicedo's not working, we can bring on Lavia to close the game down. We have we're blessed with the ability to bring on these world-class footballers and have the depth that not many other teams have, let alone in the Premier League in the world. Very few clubs in world football have the depth that we have and can boast about the quality players that we are able to bring off the bench. So, yeah, man, I'm not mad at it. I think he's got a shout, and look, every time a Chelsea player gets criticised in the media, he seems to come out of it better off. And again, Enzo Fernandez, criticised heavily in the media this week, he's come out of it with 4 assists in, 2 halves of football, or less than that. It's incredible the effect that negativity can have on you, makes you want to succeed. And yeah, man, long may it continue. I think it depends on the game, depends on the opposition. But yeah, Enzo Fernandez, I'm by no means writing him off. I'm by no means saying loan, sell, none of that nonsense, man. He's a quality player. Every week it's keeper should have done better. How long are we going to suffer this? Bro, nothing ain't going to change. But the real question being asked, people are questioning who the fuck got young Ma pregnant. Hey, who the fuck got young Ma pregnant, man? Hey! Eamon, it's good to have you, man. I don't think you're still in the cup, but it's good to have you, bro. Nice little change of scenery. Get Eddie in the cup, man. Get Eddie in the comments. I want to hear what my man's saying. But Havertz, that bomb, bro. I was cussing him out, bro, when he went off. Also, Declan Rice playing today with what? I mean, this injury crisis continues for Arsenal. I, feel so sorry for them and how I don't know how they've managed to get through this injury crisis. No players injured today. 100% full team fit. Other than Calafiori, that fucking bum. But anyway, I don't know why we didn't just stamp on Declan Rice as a toe from minute one. Palmer has to practice free kicks. After Wolves, I'm not going to sit here and profess to be able to tell Cole Palmer about his game. Listen, man, it's always embarrassing when it hits the wall. Gabriel, I just had to look at your picture. You look like another one of my boys. Hanno is a Chelsea fan. But yeah, I'm not sure about that. He just needs to. I feel like today he wasn't on it, and that's fair enough. I didn't think he'd be ready to play today, and I feel like what. I feel like we could have got away with not playing him. I know he had a good couple of chances in the first half. I feel like we could have got away with not playing Palmer today. Gabriel says we have to feed Jackson more balls in space. Guys, reminder on the TikTok, if you want to get involved in the comments, listen, I can't hear you. I will go through the comments after I get off the YouTube, but the majority of you pretty will have left the cut. So, yeah, man. Jump in the YouTube at Two Blues Podcast. You can watch the TikTok and the YouTube at the same time, bro. Support us both, man. We need to get the watch hours up on the YouTube. So if you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube, and just go and watch the last few videos, man. I drop a lone watch video every week. I drop live match reactions at the final whistle. You know what it is, man. Run it up. We want to get monetized in this business so we can start giving you proper content. I want to be able to, bring charms down so we can do proper podcast episodes. But at the moment, we're limited to the StreamYard, the virtual basis, and I'd rather do this shit in person and properly and professionally. So, you know what, man, run it up. The more you run it up, look, bro, smash the like button. The like button's free. The like button don't cost nothing. Don't take no time, bro. Smash the like button, comment as well, and subscribe to the channel. Follow out Two Blues Podcast on the Instagram and TikTok. Yeah, Sanchez should have saved the goal. I agree. Listen, if I sit here and complain about Sanchez every week, people are going to get miffed, but at the same time, it is really hard, by the way. What are you not saying? The Denim Tears Cactus Plant Flea Market, bro. Hard, bro. Hard. Print's hard as well. And I've got to give a shout out, man. I don't think I've ever done this. The Denim Tears customer service was the best I've ever received. Unbelievable. It was an AI bot as well at first. But then even that, the personage, bruv. Elite. You say Gusto ain't the same as last season, mate. Don't you know the answer to that? I'll tell you, the dickhead manager needs to keep making him invert. Gusto needs to bomb at the wing. Yeah, look. We all know, I think Gusto and Reece James, both as good as they are, and when, the better a player is, the more able they are to do certain roles. But there are certain players which fill certain roles, and Reece James and Malo Gusto are both bombing on right wing backs, and that is how they operate. That is what they do. Listen, man, they are both going to be best in their position at right back. And it is tricky to see Gusto being inverted. Look, it works with Renato Vega. It works with Marc Cucurella. It doesn't really work with Gusto. He's not good enough in the 10. He's not good enough on his on his left foot. He's not good enough in front of goal. He can't pick the pass in attacking areas. Look, he's great putting crosses in, great bombing in on the right. And similar to James, as Zappi says, both players, and Reece James is a little bit different because he's shown us that he can do it in his stint at Wigan, was arguably one of the best loan spells I've seen in recent years from a Chelsea player. But he is still best utilised on the right side, bombing forward as a right wing back, putting balls into the box, overlapping, focusing on that right side rather than drifting into centre midfield, more logistical, more positioning, more marking problems. I do feel like we are cutting our nose off to spite our face with these right backs, but look, man, it's techie. It's one of those things. If the manager wants it to happen, if that's the manager's system, the players are going to have to adapt. And if they can't, they're going to go. So, yeah, man. I don't think it's ever in question that Havertz is a twat. Imagine, the fact that his goal was offside, my head was gone when he was celebrating, by the way. But shushing, to come to our club, we paid 75 million for this guy, right? And he's scored, he won the Champions League with us. We put it up with God knows how much nonsense. And he's gone to Arsenal. And he's had a bang average season, or similar level of season that he's had at Arsenal that he had at ours. And then he's come to the Bridge and started shushing us. Bro, the second he did that, I put out a tweet saying, Levi Cole will break Kai Havertz's legs next challenge. Bro, the geezer, where does he get this ego? He's like Garnacho, bro, thinking he's Ronaldo, bro. Where does Kai Havertz get this ego? Nuts individual. Maresca gets paid how much a week to keep picking Jackson and making Custo invert? That's disgusting. Listen, I can't moan about the Jackson starting. I like Jackson. I think he's my number 9. He's my starting number 9. I think Enzo Maresca clearly likes a traditional number 9 as well, which is kind of not really what Gusto or and Kunku or Felix are in terms of the hold-up play, the ability to win headers, to drag players out of position, to link up and make things happen from deep. I feel like Nkunku and Felix are more kind of utility players, players that you just kind of let float around, roam. Don't get me wrong, very, very good technical players, great footballers, fantastic talents to have, and by no means, worse than Jackson. They're just different players, and I feel like Jackson does the number 9 role better than most players in the Premier League. I feel like there's very few players, Isaac and Haaland and Watkins, up in the conversation there with him, but he's definitely top 5 strikers in the Prem. There's not many players in the Premier League, if not world football, that do their job better than Jackson. And look, we only scored 1 goal today. We didn't create that much. He was fairly quiet in terms of his reception. Cole Palmer didn't get that much. Didn't get that much through to him today. He was fairly quiet. There were a couple of players that were off today, and Chelsea, I don't think going forward were as dangerous, as devastating as we could have been. But yeah, it's by no means a Jackson out performance for me. I've just gone on that whole rant, and the whole time Zappy meant Sanchez, but yeah. Then we can play Palmer on the right and Gusto overlapping. Yeah, I think again it's difficult, but I think Palmer's position is best when he does that Hazard role of, look, you have a designated position, but go where you want, bro. Freedom. Do what you want. You're intelligent enough, you're good enough to know where and when the game needs you. Drift around, if it's sitting in the 10, if it's swapping out wide. Cole Palmer can do it all, man, and he's the player in this 11. You can't give it to every player. You can't give the creative license to every player in that starting lineup, because then it becomes a mess. Then no one's doing their job. But if you give the creative license to one player, to the number 10, if you have someone out left, right, and in centre forward, and then you say to the 10, look, you know where you're playing, you know where your position is on the team sheet, but realistically, see where the game takes you, see where the spaces are. I feel like he's 100% that player. And that was the role that we were giving Eden Hazard 5-10 years ago. That's the role that we should be giving Cole Palmer now. So, yeah, no doubt that his position is safe. I don't feel like it's best to lock him down to one role, one position. But, yeah, man, he can do it all. Obviously, quiet day for him today, but is there another game before the international break? Either way, after the international break, he will be back at it, as will we. Right. Chelsea, though, have made it through a tough run of games, and we lost 1 to Newcastle. So we had the run of games was Newcastle twice, United and Arsenal. We've drawn against Arsenal and United, beaten Newcastle, lost against Newcastle in the cup. Obviously, would have rather won in the league. Not that it, small margins, but I would have rather won in the league than the cup, and we did. So, look, we've managed to go through a very tough. We started the season on a big high, but with it in the back of our mind that we hadn't played the best teams, the most difficult teams. There were still going to be bigger challenges to come. And we've got through the bigger challenges. We've only lost again. Oh, obviously there was Liverpool in there as well. We've only lost this season in the Premier League against Liverpool, Man City, and then Newcastle in the cup as well. This Chelsea team is doing all right. Look, we're getting towards the Christmas after this international break. We're going into the Christmas period. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be hectic. This is where our strength in depth is going to come through, and I think. Genuinely, I think this is where we are going to make up ground on some of the other teams. I feel like teams like Manchester United, teams like Tottenham are going to drop off because of the lack of depth. Obviously, Manchester City, in a poor run of form at the moment, have injury concerns. Arsenal, while they're out of their injury concerns, still poor run of form, could be kind of caught up and stuck with it. I mean, Liverpool, the only ones really that are clear of it at the moment, that have kind of no negatives going for them and that are really kind of making strides in terms of a title challenge. But Chelsea are still in there. You know, we didn't expect Chelsea to be challenging for a title, challenging for a Premier League this season. As of this, as of game week 11, as of game week 10, 11, going as of the November international break, we are still in the conversation. Listen, I'm not expecting a title charge. I don't think Chelsea are going to win the title. I think it's City's. I think Chelsea are not going to finish top 3. Never would have said that. I said 5th earlier in the season, and I would still be fairly confident saying that we will finish 5th. But look, it is ours to mess up at the moment. The teams in and around us, while they're in great form, Nottingham Forest, Brighton, Newcastle, teams that haven't done as much as we've done and don't look as good as we do. In the long run, I think we can maintain this position better than other teams. And I think tonight, again, if we taken a few of those chances, the Malo Gusto chance in the first half, the Wesley Fofana chance in the second half, we were so close to 3 points today. And then we are sitting there saying we're above Arsenal. We're only behind Manchester City and Liverpool. We are in top. We're back. We are very much there. But it's still so close, but so far for Chelsea. And look, the turnaround is here. I'm happy with today. Again, I feel like it's a missed opportunity, but we didn't lose. I can go into work tomorrow and not hide my head. It's okay. If anything, we deserve to win. So, you know what it is, man. London has always been, will forever be blue. You know who I've been. One of the two blues. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube. If you're watching on the TikTok, go and hit the link in my bio. Go to the YouTube channel, man. At Two Blues Podcast. Probably do some sort of reaction episode tomorrow. We'll be back for Two Blues Tuesday for a live stream with myself and my co-host, Mr. C Money Picks. I'm going to record my short now. Get out tonight. Yeah, man. Whatever it is, there's going to be a load of content. Even throughout the international break, I'll try and keep it going with the loan watches, the academy watches, a couple live match watch-alongs as well. Maybe some England content as well. So you know what? Whatever you do, just like. It don't cost nothing. Don't take no time. Just hit like, comment, subscribe. That's all it is, man. Two Blues Podcast on the Instagram and the TikTok. It's been real, you man. It's been real. Until next time, you know who we are. You know what we do. Two Blues. Got the news for you.